Hello.
Yep.
Hello, hello.
I'm trying to figure out because up in the corner of my screen it says it's recording.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
Owen
wondering
has
if
set
I
it
should.
up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We really appreciate your participation, and we want to be able to answer your questions. I'm getting a question here that says, "Not sure that I have microphone." So, Owen, as host, maybe you can facilitate that. If you don't have access to microphone, then just pop your questions into chat, and we'll get to it. So Numunu Staffing is a very interesting name. Let me explain. We are wholly owned by the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma. Numunu means the people, the Comanche people in the Comanche language. And as a tribally owned entity, it's appropriate for what we do. Our focus is to support employment and workforce development within our community, which includes the tribal groups as well as our extended community. We're based in Lawton, and so our community involves veterans, transitioning military spouses, and a variety of minority groups. So when the opportunity for Numunu Staffing came up to partner with Step It Up America, it made perfect sense. Our missions are very similar, and not to mention the folks over at Step It Up America are friends, and we've had the opportunity to work together in the past. In any case, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time. I want to get straight to all the good stuff, which is our presenters, and to talk about how the program works and how you can get involved. I'm going to introduce our presenters just very briefly. We're going to start with BG Moore and then move through that. And BG, if you would give a brief introduction about yourself and your role, and same with our other panelists. So the sequence today will be BG first, then we've got Julia Bonarigo. Did I do that right? Awesome. Then Dewan Davis, who's actually a veteran and graduate of the program, and Brandy Green. Julia is our employer sponsor participant, so she's got some really good insights that she can share with the group as well. So housekeeping, last thing is, this is informal, guys. Our main mission is to get you the information you need to better understand the program and to get on board and want to participate and be part of this exciting opportunity. So raise your hand, ask questions, feel free to interrupt. We want to be sure you have the data that you need to make some good decisions. So if we want to get started, let's do that. BG, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Deb. Good to see you, Julia. So, y'all, poor Julia, we go back, oh my gosh, 6-7 years now, and she's endured a lot of the classes and was a great promoter of the program for us. So we appreciate all the help she's done. I'm BG Moore. I'm the president and CEO of a company called Expansion, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of a company called UST. When I joined the company, I was the chief of staff, and our founding CEO came up and said, "Hey, I've got an idea that I want to take and create training for minority women, and I want you to go out and make it happen." So I literally had the opportunity of putting the program together from its infancy 9 years ago now. Wow, time's flying. And I'll give you the reason we started the program. We were going back and forth to the National STEM Council, and they shared some information with us, and I'm probably preaching to the choir right now, y'all, but there's more payroll dollars inside technology than there is in science, engineering, and mathematics added together. And that's huge, okay? And you say, well, wait a minute, that sounds odd. But if you think about it, every company has somebody that wears the technology hat. We don't all have data scientists. We don't all have, engineering or mathematicians, but we all have somebody that's the tech guy, regardless if you're, a small startup to if you're a Fortune 100 company, okay? And if you look at who holds those jobs, they're predominantly white male. And if they're not white male, they're Indian male. Okay. And if you want the statistics, last year, 2020, those graduating with a computer science degree, 6.1% were Latino and 4.8% were African American. Okay. Another statistic that we'll take and put that in perspective, this year, children under the age of 8, white Caucasians are no longer the majority. Latino, Hispanic are the majority for children underneath the age of 8 in the United States today. So the demographics of our country are changing, but one of the leading income producing careers in our country is not staying pace. Women make up 34% of the IT landscape, but that number has been declining steadily since 2012. So the reason that we decided to start the Step It Up program, quite simply, was to bring diversity to the technology field and give our clients the opportunity to have a source for hiring people with diverse ethnicity, gender, and background. Okay. And this was way before the current state of the nation, where that, you know, we have the whole Black Lives Matters movement and everything else. You cannot talk to a Fortune 500 C-suite person and say, would you like to hire more diverse candidates, and not have them rousingly respond, yes, they would. Okay. What we found, because of the lack of folks coming out of university with computer science academic backgrounds, if you're trying to take and find the talent, entry-level talent, it's hard to do just because of the statistics I just quoted. But if you can take off the bindings of having to have computer science as the undergraduate majors, okay, and put into it where that you can go to liberal arts or other degree programs, the talent pool vastly expands. And that's why we're able to take and find really, and we have some of our graduates with us today that you'll get to hear from. You can take and get great people, have the passion, have the drive, have the intellect to take and be very successful in technology careers. And the really neat thing about the program is at the end of the day, they are more laser trained specifically to your needs than if you were to get someone right off a college campus with a computer science degree. And people say, well, why do you say that? Well, pick your university, go out and look at their syllabus and find out how many hours you have to have, how many college credit hours do you have to get your computer science degree. It's going to be somewhere between 60 to 65 college credit hours in technology courses to get your CS degree, okay? At an accredited university, a college credit hour is equivalent to 10 classroom hours of instruction. So you'll get 650 classroom hours of instruction on a variety of subjects, you know, a couple of database classes, a couple of language classes, and so on. If you're looking for a Java developer, we're going to give them 700 plus classroom hours of instruction specifically on Java, okay? The curriculum that you have them go, or we teach them, it's going to be a curriculum that you've gone through and said, this is what I want them to teach. So we're going to make sure that they learn the skill sets that you need them to know. And what additionally, besides just teaching them the theory, we're going to find out what tools do you use inside your shop. We're going to use those in the lab. So when they come out, they have the tactical execution knowledge of your tool set, as well as the theory behind what, you know, whether it be Java, COBOL, you know, entry-level tier 1 cybersecurity analyst, RPA, Scrum Master, you know, whatever it is. Okay. So that's the overall, what, you know, we try to do is we try to find diverse talent, put them through an accelerated training program that's somewhere between 5 to 7 months in duration. Our classes go 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, with a couple of hours of homework. Okay. A big differentiator from our program, and there's a lot of great programs out there, but we pay the resources to go through the program. Okay. It's an immersion. They're not doing this part-time while they're going to, you know, they're working another job and they're coming home exhausted in the evenings, and they're trying to set through a couple of hours of either self-study or online training. Okay. They go 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, for, 6 months. Okay. The other thing that takes and differentiates us from the other deals is that what we hold out to the students is if they successfully complete the course, we guarantee, I mean, there are employees from the first day of class, but we guarantee them a long-term job if they take and they graduate. Okay. So it's not, a pay and pray that, I'm going to get a job if I finish this boot camp. They know that if I successfully complete it, I'm going to take and get the job at the end of the day. All right. Some of our brag statistics, we have 90% of those that start the class graduate. Of those that graduate, 85% get hired by our clients. Was there a question there? Okay. 85% of those that graduate get hired by the clients. Of those that get hired by the clients, 2 years after they get hired by the clients, over 90% of them are still with the clients. Okay. Of the 40 some odd clients that have participated in the program over the last 8 years, 67% have come back for multiple batches of resources. Okay. We think we've got to be doing something right, or we wouldn't have those such high statistics. All right. The other thing, we're approved by the Department of Labor as an approved apprenticeship program, which means our graduates can get college credit hours for the classroom time that they spend. We're approved by Skill Bridge of the Department, or approved by the Department of Defense as a Skill Bridge provider, which means that active duty military 180 days before they discharge can take and participate in the program. The military is going to pay their salary. We're going to pay for the education process. The good thing about that is, to employers, it lowers the cost of the program because our military is paying for their salary during the training. But the real benefit about it is it gives those transitioning soldiers the opportunity for them to know what's the next chapter in their life going to be. Because there's a lot, if they don't have that already nailed down, both the soldier themselves and their families have a lot of fear and doubt and, just uncertainty about, okay, I've been doing this now for the last 7 years of my life. What am I going to do next? Okay. It resolves that. All right. But we try to be very flexible and make sure that the program's custom designed to work for you. We know we can share with you our experiences that we've learned over the last 8 years, because we stumped our toe numerous times and had to learn the hard way about what does work and what doesn't work. But it's an exciting program. It truly does transform lives. Okay. And I'm excited that you're going to get a chance to talk to some of the grads so that you can hear about it. Deb, Owen, Connie, was there anything that I didn't cover? I know I threw a whole lot out in a short period, but hopefully that's a good overview for everybody.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Well, in all sincerity, I'm going to pass it to Julia. Julia I don't know, I think we did 5, 6 classes together, Julia. So she's put up with my nonsense and heard that speech probably a dozen times. So thank you for doing that, Julia. And with that, I'll turn it over to you.
My pleasure to listen to that speech again, BG, and thank you for having me here. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Bonarigo, and I am currently the lead for People Engagement and Culture at Takeda Pharmaceuticals. But the reason or I should say the R&D division of Takeda Pharmaceuticals, but the reason I've been invited to speak to you today is because in my previous role at a global technology company of about 7,500 people, we partnered with UST and Step It Up Global to deliver a really innovative and exciting program. And so I've got a lot of experience working with these guys and happy to share that. And so I think probably, as most people on this call know and understand all too well, the competition for tech talent is really high. The competition for diverse tech talent is, even higher. And so where we're all thinking about this, and it's top of mind for organizations that, feel that this is important and the right thing to be doing around diversifying our organizations and really, making an inclusive culture that brings to bear, diverse perspectives so that we can innovate better. we at my former employer decided that in addition to the regular hiring channels that we were using to attract talent into the organization, we wanted to make our own talent as well. We wanted people who had an interest and an aptitude, raw intellectual horsepower, if you will. We could train them to do the jobs, right? We could figure out, which roles would be good entry-level positions for them to come into, and get their foot in the door where they otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity if they were coming through the regular recruiting channels. Their resume would not read strong enough necessarily to get them an interview. And so we just had to figure out how to stand the program up and how we were going to manage it and resource it going forward. And, enters UST and Step It Up, because they bring to bear all the resources that you need in order to do this, right? So everything from the sourcing, screening, and hiring the talent to running the robust training curriculum that, as BG mentioned, they will get to know you and your organization and what technologies are you using in-house that resources need to understand and be trained on in order to be successful in their roles. They provide individual coaching and support to the participants, right? So along the way, they're rounding out the technical curriculum with the other professional development skills and opportunities that will help people with that transition into their new roles. And then they provide, the employee relation support, the payrolling, and all of those other things to you. So for us, the value proposition, we were getting resources trained to our specifications. It was an opportunity for people to step into roles and see if it was a good fit for them, and vice versa, right? Like, we got to basically, make sure that, it could be a good long-term fit to bring these individuals on board. It was a way to expand the labor pool in highly competitive markets. Among those multiple classes that we did together, we actually expanded the footprint outside of the US and stood up classes with UST in 2 locations, one in Central America and one in Europe. And in markets where the talent competition is equally as tough as it is in the US. And so, it made us more competitive in those markets as well. It clearly increases the diversity in our teams, and we were looking at diversity in multiple different ways, not just race and gender, but also diversity of thought, experience. It's everything that people bring with them into the organization. And BG mentioned this too, the loyalty and the staying power is amazing, right? You've given these folks an opportunity to launch a career in a technology, in an industry that they may never have thought of as being something that they were cut out to do, or it sparked interest for them, earlier in their life or their career. And now they have an opportunity to really, have a career that's got tremendous growth opportunity in this sector. And it's all kind of at a deferred cost to the organization, so it's a win-win. And so for us, it was a really strong and important partnership for us to be able to launch this program that really became kind of a crown jewel for the organization in terms of our talking points about diversity and inclusion and what we were doing, and our commitment to that. I used to joke that we needed to get the CEO some new material because it was like his go-to talking point about what we were doing. So with that, I will let you hear from some of the graduates of the program, but happy to answer questions people may have, just sort of in terms of our experience working with UST and the program.
Julia, thank you so much. That's an amazing story. And actually the first time I've heard about the Akamai story. So just so incredibly impressive. And I will share with our audience, my personal experience with the program with Connie in Bentonville, Arkansas with Walmart. Very similar to what Julia talked about, looking for different channels to find local talent, and there weren't any. So it was a matter of, we've got to grow our own. And it was hugely successful. But I'm not here to talk. I'm actually going to turn it over to Dewan. you're on mute? There you go.
Hello, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Good.
So I'm Dewan Davis, and I'm nothing but honored to be asked to speak today about my experience with UST and the program Step It Up America. Before, I mean, a lot of the things I'm gonna be piggybacking off of what BG said, because it's like he was describing me. So before Step It Up America, I just finished up a long skit in active duty military. I think I had been out at that time for about 2 months, and I had already done, let's say 5 to 10 interviews. I actually do have a computer science degree. That's why I said I'm gonna be piggybacking up with him, because it's 100% correct. You go through a degree like that, and they go through so much stuff. It's hard to zero in on anything. But like I said, I went through about 5 to 10 interviews, and actually got hired with a couple of them, but it was not something I wanted to do. I actually wanted to do exactly what I'm doing right now. So when Connie contacted me like an angel through email, talking about this program, and I was just thinking, come on, I mean, exactly what I'm looking for following in my lap. So we talked for a little bit, and I decided to check out the program, and it turns out it was, I mean, I think I was just blessed or lucky enough to have been in the right place at the right time to be able to join the team, because like BG said again, I was active duty. Me and my wife took a chance. We were in California. We took a chance on coming back home, and me graduating, getting my degree, and then trying to do something in that field. And a lot of times, if you look at the statistics, a lot of times it does not work out. You end up doing something that you did not want to do. But with this, it fell right in my lap. I thought, wow, I can go and do something that I wanted to do anyway. So with the program, I think it's an amazing program. It has an amazing system. Going through it, I think my class was 4.5, 5 months, long time. So, it could get tiring. But I mean, for somebody, especially veterans that don't know what they're going to do next, or even veterans that have been out for a while, to have this opportunity like this, I know, everybody in my class appreciated it so much, and it pushed forward to get those offer letters at the end. And that's where I'm at now. I just went on with the company Fiserv, and I'm still enjoying it. It's been one blessing after another since Connie contacted me. So it's been amazing. Let's see, what else can I touch on?
I have a question for you, Dewan.
Sure.
So tell us what it is that you do, because I think that's super interesting.
Okay, so I'm in the tools and automation department. So basically, we just write code. I love it. We just code pretty much all day, and come up with little ways to make other people's jobs easier. And my job, my particular job, is based solely on requests. So one of the good things about that is you're not doing the exact same thing every day. You might get a request and work on it for a week to a month, but then you get to move on to something else, and it's something different where you have to think and figure out how you're going to help the next person. If that answers your question.
Thank you.
All
Any
right.
questions from our attendees? You can either pop it in Q&A, raise your hand, put it in chat. Feel free to do that. We can always bounce back to Dewan if you've got any questions, but in the meantime, I will introduce Brandy.
Hi everyone. My name is Brandy Galloway Green. I actually went through, first of all, thank you for having me on this panel. I was super excited when I found out that that these were companies based out of Oklahoma. I actually am a proud graduate of Broken Arrow High School. So was definitely excited to kind of, talk to my home state a little bit. But I came up through the Step It Up America Walmart cohort back in 2016. I am that non-traditional route student. My undergraduate degree, I graduated from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, and my undergraduate degree was in Spanish. So totally different from, a STEM related degree. But I ended up graduating. I took a job with Sherwin-Williams as an assistant manager going through their leadership training program. I was reached out to by a representative from UST Global. Found out about this program. The first thought when I was asking questions about the role, I was told that this would be a Scrum Master class, and I had no idea. I'm like, what's a Scrum Master? So, but long story short, ended up going through Walmart's program. It was 16 weeks, so four months there. My class was 47 people. So it was a fairly big class. It was broken down. We had Scrum Master training in business analyst training. So it was a 2-part class. So not only was I trained as a Scrum Master, I was also trained as a business analyst. And then later, after the 4-month training was completed, ended up coming into the Walmart transportation domain, working with them as a Scrum Master for one of their teams. So it was super exciting. I ended up moving to Houston. I got married, moved to Houston, and I came on board with Halliburton. Stayed there for 3 years, and now I'm with Waste Management as their senior project manager for their customer service digitalization program. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. If there are any questions.
Thank you, Brandy.
You're welcome.
So I think one of the things that we haven't talked about yet, you heard from DeJuan, you heard from Brandy, different kinds of programs. BG, you want to talk a little bit about some of the different disciplines that are available? I know you talked about customization,
Sure.
but cybersecurity and all of that, the other programs.
Y'all, I don't want this to sound braggadocious or what, but pretty much we can teach any technology class that you can teach within 6 months. Now, that being said, we can teach someone to be a data analyst. We can't teach someone to be a data scientist, right? I mean, so we've done a class for SAP on functional SAP and ABAP. Didn't do BASIC, but we can do that type of SAP training, but we can't teach somebody to be like a Hadoop specialist. Okay, so as long as it's an entry level position, I feel confident that I'm not overloading my mouth. And on some of the classes we did from Julia, she took and she said, okay, I want them to know a little Python, I want them to know a little bit network administration. So she took all sorts of disciplines and crammed it into a course curriculum, and and it worked. So you can get pretty creative on what all you want them to learn, as long as you realize that it's an entry level position. We did a class for system admin for mainframe. Okay, and that one scared the life out of me, because we've done a lot of COBOL, JCL classes, but when I was going through the ranks, the system admin, those were the real super brains, and it was successful. The client ended up hiring everyone out of the class. So yay for that group. Probably our mainstay, the one that we do more classes than anything else, we do a lot of Java, we do a lot of COBOL, we do a lot of tier 1 entry level, tier 1 cybersecurity analyst classes. So by far, those are what we've done the most of. A couple of years back, Truist, which at that point in time was SunTrust Bank, came to us and said, hey, we want you to do a class in RPA, in Blue Prism, and in Pega. We didn't have a curriculum for it, but we went out, we developed a curriculum, we worked with the client closely to make sure that we were covering the right stuff. And that was a successful class. And we've done 2 other RPA classes since then. Okay, so we're not afraid to take on something if you've got a one-off. I'll tell you that especially for software packages, like we've done Salesforce, okay? Those are pretty easy to do in a fairly rapid period of time because you give a little bit of theory, but you spend the most of the time specifically on the software, the tool itself, and so they know how to use the tool, okay? But if anyone has any specifics, we've done .NET, we've done, Python, we've done quality assurance, automated quality assurance. We've done Scrum Master, but would be happy to answer any specific questions. If you've got a skill set that you're wondering about, would be happy to let you know if we've done it or, what we think about whether we could do it.
So
We do have a question. We do
Oh,
have a
go ahead.
question from the panelists. From the attendees, and that question is, are the job placement statistics as strong for Step It Up graduates who have not already completed an undergraduate degree, like our two panelists thus far?
Yeah, let me address that. Y'all, when we first started the program, we were letting high school and GED folks come through the program. It wasn't that they didn't have the intellect to take and complete the program. The challenges that we were having was the maturity level of those candidates going to corporate America, the whole, basically their first real job, okay? When we raised the bar to be a 4-year degree person, all of those problems went away. The age bracket of the candidates was the exact same, but I think the rigor and the processing that the folks went through for the 4-year degree took and got them to the point where that they were mature enough to handle corporate America. When we introduced the program to the veteran program into it, we said, okay, you can either have a combination of 132 college credit hours and or military training units, okay? And we have never had a vet that we've had an issue with as far as being able to get through the program. So, we do accept military training units in lieu of college education. That being said, if the client comes to us and says, hey, we don't care about degrees, and we've had a lot of people say that to us, we just want really bright, hardworking, passionate people, we'll go find those folks, okay? Because if we give them an assessment test, the assessment test is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It assesses reading, comprehension, math, and analytics. If they can pass that with a 70 or better, then they're going to be able to handle the material inside the class. So I don't know if I actually answered the question or not, but the client decides what the academic background requirements are for us to take and to recruit for them. The reason that we take and we've gone with a 4-year degree is the maturity level. If we can find candidates that have maybe a 2-year associate's degree or, they never finished their degree at all, but they're a mature person and they can pass the assessment, we're happy to take and put those people as long as the clients actually pick who gets into the class, okay? And I guess I didn't say this, and I'll throw it in while I'm on the roll. The clients get to pick who's going to get the seat. I don't know if we got some feedback going on there, y'all. The clients get to pick who gets a seat in the class. Then the clients take and determine what the capstone or the final exam is. They grade that. And so the clients are the ones that are saying I believe that the student has mastered the skills that we wanted them to master. And the way the contracts are written is that if the clients agree that they will take whoever they say passes the course after graduation, all right? But the client gets to determine whether or not they passed or not. So the client gets a chance to take and have a say-so on who gets into class, who graduates, and then when they graduate, we put them on staff at the client site as a contractor, okay? And we've had clients that have hired the whole class the day after graduation and they never did do any contract. We've had others that have kept them on contract for 12 months. If they're on working for you and they're not working out for whatever reason, okay, you pick up the phone and say, hey, Joe or Betty's not working out, and we remove them and you have no financial obligation for them, okay? The client doesn't pay anything for the resources until after they graduate. We cover all the upfront costs of doing the training and paying the instructors, paying the students, paying for the equipment and software that they need to go through the class.
We have another different question from Robert. Are you currently working with any federal agencies? And if so, how are these employees being carried while they are attending your programs? Are these full-time or temporary or term?
Sure. The program in its natural format, okay, a traditional Step It Up class, we would take and hire the resources to take and be our employees from day one of the class. So they become our employees all the way through until the client, the end consumer of the talent, hires that person to come on board with them. Now, that being said, we have done classes before. We just finished one in Northwest Arkansas where the client hired us just to do the training. Okay, they were their employees. We provided the instructor and the curriculum, and we trained them. And so they stayed their employees, and I don't know if they gave them a bonus or a pay increase at the end of the time frame or whatever. But so we have done engagements where that we take and just are the trainers for the program. But the traditional model is where that we take and go out, we find out the specifications from the client, what they're looking for, we recruit them, the client selects who they want to be in the class, we run the class, the students are our employees during the training and post-training, and then the clients take and end up hiring the students to convert over to become their employees. And that's the way that is our normal way, but we're flexible and we can work with, governmental agencies or whatever, however they want us to work with. Any other questions, Owen?
Not as yet. No additional questions in the chat.
Y'all, I mean, hope from, talking to Dwayne or, Brandy or Julia, it's a fun program to be a part of, right? I mean, it's upbeat, it's exciting. You're putting folks on a career trajectory that most of them never really thought about while they were, going through their undergraduate degree program. Julia mentioned it, the security in being a technologist today is, if you want a job, you can go out and find one. There's always going to be demand for good technologists. So it's a feel-good piece, okay? The cost-wise of doing the program, if you look at it compared to college campus recruiting over a 2-year time frame, the Step It Up program, and I can show you the numbers, comes out to be a lower cost than what it would cost if you were doing campus recruiting. So it opens up diverse talent to you. They're custom trained for you. The candidates hit the ground running a little bit faster than if you did right off the college campus recruits. It's giving individuals from a more varied background an opportunity that they wouldn't have if you didn't open it up to them. So those are kind of the benefits of the program.
And I'm going to chime in on that, BG. In Oklahoma, prior to COVID, we had well beyond what was considered full employment. So finding talent with Dallas next door, drawing talent away from Oklahoma and paying more, we have to be more creative. We have to find ways to reward people that have chosen to stay in their communities, because that work still needs to be done. So what happens when employers can't find local talent, they either have to import the talent and pay a premium for that, or export the job that needs to be done and send that money to somebody else's economy. The reason why Numunu Staffing is involved in this program, number one, is that overall, the unemployment level for tribal members is ridiculously high, and we need to fix that. So this is a way to help our tribal members gain skills that are beyond blue collar work, that will allow them the kind of growth trajectory that we want to see for the people in our community. Beyond that, it's servicing the rest of our community, which is many veterans that retire in the Lawton, Oklahoma and surrounding areas, as well as the military spouses that we talked about. These people are often underemployed because they do have valuable skill sets. And in a situation where so much of our work, thanks to COVID, we know can be done remotely, we offer them the education and skills to be able to professionally do things in the IT world remotely. So I think the combination, the alignment between the mission of Step It Up America, the mission of Numunu Staffing, and the needs of the employers in Oklahoma to satisfy these jobs really come together beautifully. What we need are those employers who, let's face it, you're going to have to hire these folks regardless, or you're going to be sending those jobs out somewhere else. If we want to grow our economy, we want to attract new employers, we want to be able to keep our families together. The number of people that leave Oklahoma versus come back in continues to be higher and has been for years. We have to be able to turn that around, and the only way to do that is by getting the commitment of employers like those of you that are on today, as well as other employers that are leaders in the Oklahoma community, to participate in programs like these so that we can help those folks that are in our community fill those jobs and find ways to better their quality of life and the lives of their children. So that's my pitch with what we're doing. The one thing that I'm not sure was well communicated yet is, so how do we pay for all of this? Where does the money come from? And I'm not the expert in that, but I'm going to throw a couple things out there for you guys. BG talked about the program being approved by the Department of Labor as an apprenticeship program. So we get some money from the federal government with grants. He talked about UST Global underwriting the program, setting up the training, getting all the right resources in place. And part of that is the recruiting piece of it. And there's some funny stories around recruiting where Connie and her team send emails to recruit folks, and they ignore it because it sounds too good to be true. We've legitimately had people say, stop pranking me. So, this program is legitimate, but the money has to come from somewhere. BG talked about, we're not asking for anything upfront from the employers other than participate in recruiting, make a commitment to hire people once they come out of the program. And where we do recover our costs is that these folks are temporary employees. Or as BG said, if you want to hire them right away, well, then we've got to charge a little bit of a fee to recover some of that training cost. But I will promise you that whatever you're paying for contractors today, the folks that are coming through this program are going to be significantly more economical and save your labor budgets. That's generally not the main reason why employers participate in this program, but it certainly is an advantage. And I can share that the programs that I was involved in Bentonville we significantly reduce labor costs, significantly in the tunes of millions of dollars. So I'll leave with that. Hopefully, if you guys have any more questions, you'll send it to me, email it to me, throw it in chat. Connie, Owen, BG, oh, Julia, you know, anything you want to add to that about the benefits for the employers? We talked about the feel good, we talked about diversity and all the good stuff that comes with diversity. Anything else that you want to add?
Deb, can I just would like to say just one last thing before passing it on. I know with my class at Walmart, we had a very diverse class. We had veterans, we had, most of our class were women. We had people of color in our class as well. But one of the things that kind of, one of the common strains that came from that class is that we just needed the opportunity. You know, to BG's point, what he was saying earlier, we didn't even know, a lot of us didn't even know that this was an option to go into tech in general. So a lot of us just needed the opportunity. Now, you know, five years later, just how we've grown in our careers just across the board. We're not only at Walmart, yes, we, you know, some of us have went ahead and gotten the, become full-time employees with Walmart, but, you know, they're at USAA, they're at, you know, at Google now. There are so, this has opened so many doors. And this was, you know, as Dewan was saying, this was a huge blessing. Too good to be true a lot of times. You know, we laugh about it now, my cohort, but we thought it was, you know, who are these people calling us? Who is emailing us? You know, it is too good to be true when you think about it from that standpoint, but we're so happy that we took a chance and actually followed through and returned phone calls and emails. But people who come through this program are some of the hardest workers. And now actually being on the other side, because now I'm involved in hiring as well. But being able to see it, okay, from this side, you know, coming through and someone actually taking a chance on me, and now being able to sit in the seat where I can actually take a chance on someone else and actually promote this program to leadership now, not only at Waste Management, but at Halliburton as well, to, you know, unfortunately, Step It Up America was in the Houston area, so I could promote that, but there were other programs similar, but this by far has been the best program. And I'm so happy that, you know, to see it expanding. And I really hope that that you guys get on board, because it's a great program.
Thanks, Brandy. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun too.
Hands down, it is the most rewarding thing that I've done in my career in terms of being able to project manage this program from the employer side, and to see, you know, upwards of 170 plus people that came through the program while I was, you know, kind of at the helm. And really, I mean, the change that you make in people's lives and the opportunities, and everyone is so deserving of them. They just need a foot in the door, right? And so this program provides that. It gives them tools that will help them for the rest of their lives in terms of their career. And that will manifest itself in so many other ways in people's lives too, right? You know, to know that you're now securely in a field, that you are employable, you know, it just, I can only imagine for, you know, having, you know, just been on the receiving side of so many thanks and appreciation, but like what it must mean for, you know, folks who go through it. So it's pretty amazing.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. So I'll tell you what we'll do for next steps. You know, again, the point of this session was to make sure that our friends that are joining us today have good information so that they can start making decisions, and hopefully we're hopeful that the decision will be to move forward with the program, at least test it. Some of the programs that our panelists talked about today were dedicated courses that were specifically for that employer. We're not asking any one employer here to hire 42 people. We can aggregate students in similar training sessions and separate them out. You know, one client takes a couple of folks, another takes a couple more. The other thing that COVID has shared with us is Now all the programs are done virtually. So we're able to take people in different geographies and aggregate them in a class. It really opens up the field, particularly for those that are transitioning military. They may not be in Oklahoma today, but that's where their roots are, and that's where they want to be when they are finished with their service. So why not? Why not have them involved in these programs and be able to support them coming out, transitioning into a job, and not have that big question mark over your head is, okay, now what? I've served my country, now what am I going to do? So we're big advocates and supporters there. And I know many of the people that are on the program today as guests are also very big supporters of our veterans community. So thank you all. We're going to give you 8 minutes back on your day. We finished a little bit early. Panelists, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to share your stories. Absolutely amazing. We've recorded the session so that we can share it. We had a couple of people that were not able to join at the last minute. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. We appreciate everything you do. And we hope we can work with you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to y'all later.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.